Hello, it's a pleasure visiting your homes today in this edition of From Our Correspondent. My name is Richard K Nyarko. It's a big pleasure to take you around the country to bring you stories from our correspondents who've been working in our various communities. I tell you what, there are many interesting stories in this 1 hour package. Stay with me. We begin with Mohammed Nuruddin from the Ashanti region, who brings us a survival story. He tells us a story of Zainab Abubakar Fofana, who says she is now creative after she survived the ravages and displacement of a military coup during childhood. Growing up in Kumasi, she always felt confined by cultural norms and a strict education system. The urge to discover herself pushed her to the UK for studies. She returned years after to share what she has with her people. Zainab is now the proprietress of legendary Eagles Educational Center in Kumasi, where she is helping to shape the vision of tomorrow's leaders.
I was born and bred here. I was born at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital as a baby, and I lived in Kumasi for a very long time.
Zainab's father was forced into self-exile following the 1981 coup d'etat, which brought the now former Provisional National Defense Council led by Jerry Rawlings to power.
Apparently, we're living with our grandmother at Sawaba, and then we also attended a local school around the area, which is Calvary International School.
Growing up without a father, Zainab says life was difficult to endure because the family could hardly afford household expenditure. Something dramatic, however, occurred in 2003 after her father had passed on. Zainab decided to travel abroad. But how, considering the circumstances at the time?
You know, at the institution, you intend meeting a lot of people. It's versatile, different cultures of people that come around. You know, you get exposed to what is outside. Tell you how it's been like and how you can further education, how you can better your personal self when you travel. So I decided to, apply to continue my education there. But when I applied, my intention was to stay there for good, because looking back to where I'm coming from, I didn't intend coming back to Ghana at all. Me becoming what I am today is by the grace of God and the support my uncles and my elder sibling gave it to me.
Life in the United Kingdom was not easy for Zainab, but she managed to obtain a Bachelor of Art in Health Service Management and Education, as well as Masters of Art in Leadership in Education at the University of East London.
Actually, life in London wasn't easy. It was very tough. I went there as a single girl, and then I met my husband, and then we got married. And I had to still be in school at the same time, having a husband and, being pregnant, going to classes at the same time. It was very, very tough. Sometimes it snows and I sleep and it's kind of like, oh my God, I want to come back home. It's not easy back there. It's tough. I had to work, school, take care of the children, and at the same time take care of my husband as well. It wasn't easy. I worked as a cashier on the tills. I did cleaning just to make ends meet, to be able to pay our bills and to support the home as well, and to send some money back home.
Despite opportunities available to her outside, she was convinced her identity was tied to her motherland. In 2014, Zainab was back in Ghana with a smooth transition, unlike many returnees. Zainab joined Maria Montessori School as headmistress for 4 years before establishing her own school in 2018.
Before I could come, I researched to find schools that are in Kumasi, Ashanti region. So I applied from UK, a school called Maria Montessori in Kumasi at Star Junction, closer to Santasri roundabout. I applied through some CV, and I was called. I had to put my UK number. I was called and I told them I'll be coming down to Ghana and I want to work because I've not even had experience of working in Ghana to see how Ghanaians are being taught and how working with people will be. So I didn't want to establish my institution straight away. All I wanted was to have the experience working with people, if it would be possible for me to, build my own institution. So I came down in Ghana, put my children into school. Within the next 2 weeks, I started working as a head of preschool. It was very tough. I had about 44 staffs under me. It's a very big school. It wasn't easy, like in bringing whatever you've learned down here in Ghana. It was very rigid. The teachers felt that it wasn't what they wanted. They wanted freedom, and I wanted them to do the right thing. But behold and behold, we all achieved it. They understood me. And after 4 years and a half serving Maria Montessori as a head of preschool and gaining much experience, I established my own school, opened it in the name of the...
Today, Zainab is applying her knowledge and skill to Ghana's education system. For Zainab, this is just the beginning of greater things to come in her bid to help build Ghana's human resource.
I integrated it with hybrid, which is a British curriculum, Montessori, and Ghana GES curriculum. So I integrate all these with these children. We have different learning methods that we apply for the children, depending on where the child is coming from and the home and the background. So we observe every 6 weeks, every child is observed. Every teacher writes observation sheets of the child. We call the parents, we speak to them. We want to know more about the child and how we are going to build the child together. So my kids, the children, I call them my children, they call me Mommy Zainab in school. So it's parents, school, and myself. We work together to build the children up.
A report by Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin.
Let's take you now to the Western region, where the Ghana Cocoa Board has partnered 2 indigenous companies to produce over 100 million plantain suckers in 2 years to support government cocoa rehabilitation program. The 2 indigenous companies, Kumad Global Impact Limited and Afranic Company Limited, have assembled top agricultural experts and cultivated the plantain suckers on a 400-acre land aided by a state-of-art technology. Natalia Kwanzaa has more from the Western region.
The plantain nursery, reported to be the largest in the country, which started December last year, currently employs 900 permanent staff and is located at the DSO in the Swaman district of the Western North region. The 2 companies are expected to deliver the 100 million plantain suckers in phases. Under the cocoa rehabilitation project, some 136,000 hectares of cocoa being affected by the swollen shoot virus disease have been destroyed. Therefore, the plantain suckers are to serve as alternative source of income for the farmers and to provide shade for the replanted disease-resistant cocoa seedlings.
Enfie du achi koko bi aban twae ene ne yeda so ayeti menyini efise mpasua ye wosu ye twa bi sa bre no nanso enne sa rehabilitation aye di ho adanse yi aye nyina ye ni tua se koko ni nya man wa kwan a koko bodo nam so eye adwuma se ye twa koko nua no free enye se free se yentua ho ka o aban na fa ho ka abopa o tua paafo ka ame yatwa kuani na mfa ho wase ya abopa afoforo a obi nso ba be page afuo no ono so kwaji ho sika na fe watomode ba asiya fa paafo se munsan kodua eno so watua ho ka chew kuani no na ne nwanwa kura bruso ne se asiya donso apafo metra se eno ankosi se obehunu se koko no kura aba ho.
Chief Executive Officer of Afrinic, Joe Forson, said the companies are expected to produce some 35 million plantain suckers in the first phase of the project.
So this nursery really started in February. The plants that you are seeing here, transplanting started in February this year. And every week we have a set of seedlings that we raise. This year we are hoping to generate 32 million, and at the end of the day, by next year we'll raise about 117 million plantain seedlings from this 400-acre land.
He assured that the two companies have the technology and the resources to enable them deliver the plantain suckers that will be used to support the cocoa rehabilitation program. Mr. Forson mentioned that the companies also aim at moving to other areas such as tree seedlings, oil palm seedlings, and all kinds of seedlings, since the two companies have the infrastructure to take on those initiatives. For Joy News, in Athalia Kwanza, Western North Region.
So let me ask you some questions. Have you ever wondered why Muslims spend so much time reciting, listening to and visiting centers for the translation of the Quran in the month of Ramadan? Well, in the following story, my colleague Anas Sabit shares with us one of the standard features of the Muslim holy book, a scripture believed to have been revealed to Prophet Muhammad during the month of Ramadan. From Techiman in the Bunu East region, here is the report.
شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان.
Muslims believe that in the year AD 610, the angel Gabriel appeared to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and revealed to him the Quran, the Islamic holy book. Muslims fast during this month as a way to commemorate the revelation of the Quran.
The month of Ramadan, in which was revealed the Quran, a guidance for mankind and clear proof.
Have you ever wondered why Muslims give so much attention to Quranic recitations in the month of Ramadan?
Ramadan rewards are in multitudes. That is why we value Ramadan so much, and we recite so much in Ramadan. And more to the point, during Ramadan you always want to be closer to Allah as you are doing something spiritual. So because of that, you read or you recite Quran so much.
Malan Abdul Hanan Hidr has been reciting the Quran for its translation since he was 12.
I can say 2002-2003 year of Ramadan, I was in this mosque with our Imam, Sheikh Anas Al-Hassan Musa. May Allah accept his soul and grant him Jannat al-Firdaus. And possibly I was doing it before coming to Techiman. So I started reciting Quran by Imams during Tafsir around the age of 12 with my real father, Sheikh Khidr of Wa. He has also passed on. May Allah forgive him.
Malam Hanan says even though there are younger children who recite much more beautifully than he does, he's not ready to vacate his recitation seat to any other person.
Yes, that is my motivation. The best among you is the one that can recite the Quran. And I want to be the best among us. I know there are kids who recite now, their voices are very well, they are nicer than mine, but I am not giving them the chance to get closer. So I am still here. I will not expire soon. No, I will not do that.
Deputy Municipal Chief Imam of Al-Sunnah al-Jama'ah, Imam Khalid Umar Farouk, says the regular recitation of the Quran by Muslims in this month of Ramadan is a command from the Almighty God. Reciting the Quran is associated with lots of blessings in this holy month of Ramadan. So in short, if you see Muslims reading the Quran in this month, it is purposely because it is a command from the Almighty God and also from the noble Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. However, caution Muslims to desist from engaging into acts capable of nullifying their fasts.
Parliament.
Those who fast still go about insulting, backbiting, gossiping, and doing all sorts of negative stuff are losing the blessings that comes with the month. If you want to receive the blessings, do not insult, do not lie, do not gossip. You must read the Quran and reflect over its verses, and then do good as well. This will earn you the blessings associated with the month. For now, you should have a fair idea why Muslims spend so much time reciting, listening to, and visiting centers for the recitation of their Muslim holy book, the Quran, in the month of Ramadan. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tichiman.
From religion, let's talk marriage now, shall we? And the senior pastor of the Ghana Baptist Convention, Reverend Dr. Isaac Mosou, says there is no reason why people should continue to stay in abusive relationships. He says scripture gives the opportunity for married couple to be separated in cases where there are abuses. I've been interacting with him ahead of his upcoming book on marriage.
This particular book has, it's not about you have to marry or do this and do that. We're trying to get the theology, all right? How does the Creator, all right, come into marriage? And how does marriage reflect the Maker of humanity? Okay, what does He expect of us? What are the, not only laws and regulations, okay, but what must go in between the couple, the interrelationships, the covenant aspects of it, all right? Those things must be looked at, especially because of the challenge of these days where all sorts of things are being called marriages. The same-sex relationships and everything is all, they're all desiring to be considered as married people. Okay, good. So we need to look at that. What is God's intention for marriage? How does our marriage become spiritual? Should they be divorced? Or you can be married, enjoy your marital life, and still be spiritual. Okay, how do they relate? All these I've tried to address them in this book.
Some people have said that people should see marriage as a cross that they have to bear. In fact, you pick your cross and then you carry it just as Jesus Christ carried the cross.
Yes, quite a lot of that, because marriage is work. You're bringing two people from different backgrounds, different training, different mentalities, sometimes religious, ethnic backgrounds, races. I mean, all these coming together. So once they come, they all come with their baggage at the back. Okay, they have their own understanding. So marriage is work. There's the love aspect, the passion, the desire, and everything, all right? But then there are other things that people need to know. Normally, most people go into marriage looking at the love aspect. But they fail to realize that there is also the work they need to do, how to relate and how to live with people, different kinds of people. So the give and take so that you can grow together. It's like God putting two unequal things into a crucible and then shaking it until the rough edges are all become smoothened. All right, and so it's work. And so if you don't have the mentality to stay through it and work it out, the least thing you want to get out. And that's what is happening to many of the young people in our time concerning divorce. And some people think because Bible says God hates divorce, but they forget to understand that God didn't only, the Bible didn't only talk divorce, talked about abuse and, yes, abuse, okay, and destroying the other person. Okay, good. And so marriage should be seen as, yes, God's will is that you stay through. But if things are not going well and things get broken down and people have different desires and etc., and where abuse comes in and destructive things come in, all right, will God expect us to abuse one another? God expects us to cheat on one another. God expects us to be rude and unkind to one another. So that if counseling, proper counseling is not going through, or they are not subjecting themselves to counseling, all right? Rather than enduring this thing, Scripture gives the opportunity to be separated. The separation is to help people to deal with peculiar issues that are going on. And if they are not able to deal with it, and let one goes to the extent of having adulterous relationships and etc., not willing to change, then Scripture gives you the license. Yeah, so let the person go. Okay, so it's not a simple process, because people should understand that marriage is not just between the two of them. First of all, it is God that puts them together.
Let's head to the Volta region now, where Fred Kwame Asare reports an amount of $412 million is needed to execute the 5-year National Malaria Strategic Plan aimed at eliminating malaria in Ghana. The said amount would be channeled into interventions to reduce malaria mortality by 90%, reduce case incident by 50%, and achieve malaria pre-elimination in at least 6 districts by 2025. The National Malaria Control Program Manager, Dr. K Nyarko, announced this at the commemoration of this year's World Malaria Day in Hohoe in the Volta region. This year's commemoration theme is Advance Equity, Build Resilience, End Malaria.
Despite several interventions being implemented to fight malaria, including the introduction of vaccines, it remains the #1 cause of outpatient attendance in Ghana. According to the Ghana Health Service, 5.7 million malaria cases were recorded in 2021, with Ghana listed among the 11 countries with the highest malaria burden worldwide. The National Malaria Control Program therefore launched the National Malaria Strategic Plan in 2021 to fight the deadly disease caused by the Plasmodium parasite transmitted by the bite of an infected mosquito. The 3 main goals of the 5-year program are to reduce malaria mortality by 90%, reduce case incidence by 50%, and achieve malaria pre-elimination in at least 6 districts by 2025. However, speaking at the commemoration ceremony of the 2022 World Malaria Day in Hohoe, the National Malaria Control Program Manager, Dr. K Nyarko, announced that her outfit is financially handicapped in implementing the strategic plan.
There are challenges, however. Currently, with the strategic plan, we have a gap of about $412 million for us to be able to fully implement that plan. We also need to ensure that we promote the advancements of newly proven interventions and scale it up to optimal levels. In order to achieve this, we must continue the internal resource mobilization and generation from private sector partners, donors, to augment the current resource base of the country.
The Director of Public Health at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Franklin Esiedu Bekwe, underscored the need to focus on domestic resource mobilization.
While international funding to fight malaria is decreasing and uncertainty looms regarding the extent of future funding support, a serious obligation remains ahead all of us to intensify efforts for domestic resource mobilization. This is paramount in addressing the funding gap for IRS, SMC, and ITN campaigns and expansion of vaccination implementation. There's also the need to increase private sector involvement in the implementation of malaria control and elimination interventions.
The Deputy Minister of Health, Mahama Asei Seini, announced the government's intention to mobilize stakeholders' commitment to the malaria fight.
At current levels, malaria will cost Ghana $32 million over the next 10 years. There are ongoing engagement of key stakeholders, e.g., members of parliament, private sector organizations, civil societies, and interest groups to promote awareness and galvanize commitment that remove barriers to control and elimination.
A representative of the World Health Organization, Felicia Owusu, advocated for investment in research into drug and insecticide resistance with a focus on new strains of malaria. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, bemoaned the effects of malaria on the economy and called for a behavioral change to consolidate the gains in the fight against malaria.
The fight against malaria goes beyond health. It lies with also aggressively and ambitiously addressing the factors that determine health. These include, but not limited to, the following: physical and social environments, education and literacy, employment, income and social status, social support networks, and personal health practices. After having reiterated the need for multi-stakeholder involvement in the fight against malaria and demonstrating the absolute commitment of government, I will end by appealing to our sense of personal responsibility. Each one of us has a role to play to end malaria.
I call on government, political parties, political leadership, parliament, our religious leaders, civil society organizations, corporate institutions to come on board. We can do this. We need the resources. Let's commit to it. We saw what we did, everybody coming on board, contributing when it came to fighting COVID. We are not competing with COVID. We are still fighting COVID-19. But we say that if we increase our commitment, our determination, our focus, our dream to do away with malaria, come 2030, we can do it. The message is simple. Zero malaria is achievable, but it starts with you and I.
Ghana has seen a drop in malaria cases, recording 5.7 million cases in 2021 and a reduction of inpatient deaths from 599 in 2017 to 275 in 2021. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
Let's take a flight from the Volta region and head to the Bono East region now, where the Bono East Regional Minister Kwesi Edujan has expressed worry about the reluctance of residents of the region, particularly the youth, to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Speaking at a brief program held in Kintampo to assess the progress of the national vaccination exercise in the region, the minister attributed the reluctance partly to the misinformation and disinformation about the side effects of the vaccines in the area. Anna Sabit has more in the following report.
Currently, the Bono East region have vaccinated less than half of its targeted population, with only 43.6% of the region's population taking only one dose and 27.6% receiving the COVID-19 dose in full. This, according to the regional minister Kwesi Edujan, is as a result of misinformation and disinformation leading to vaccine hesitancy, particularly amongst the youth.
Statistics indicate that in our region, the Bono East region, we have 43.6% who have received single dose, just one dose, which is woefully inadequate, giving us a deficit of 53%, which is about 471,371 people who in our region have not yet received even a single dose. The challenge has been misinformation and disinformation, which has led to vaccine hesitancy and the refusal of our people, especially the youth, running away from the vaccination.
Addressing the media and opinion leaders in Kintampo on the progress of the national COVID-19 vaccination exercise in the area, Mr. Edujan called on all to accept the vaccines to save the country from being hit with another wave, which could lead to subsequent restrictions.
Let us not forget so soon the disruption COVID-19 caused to our daily lives. We do not want to go back to the period of compulsory mandatory mask wearing. The lockdowns, we do not want to experience them any longer. This can reoccur if we do not take heed to the call for the vaccinations.
Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adomako-Boateng, emphasized the need for the region to accept the vaccines, with the region's case fatality far higher than the national average.
Though we recorded about almost 3,000 cases, the case fatality rate for Bono East was 3.5. And if you compare this to Greater Accra and Kumasi, Ashanti, though they recorded huge number of cases, the case fatality for these regions were less than 1. It means that though we were not having much of the cases, those cases that we had, they were at risk of dying. So if you are talking about those who really need the vaccines, then it means that Bono should be one of the regions that we need it.
Authorities are therefore engaging the media and opinion leaders to hype up the public's interest in accepting the vaccines. Some of the opinion leaders suggested that the COVID-19 vaccination cards be made a basic requirement to people accessing services from public institutions. Malam Baba Tanko is the Deputy Municipal Imam of Aswat in Kintampo.
People are not ready to heed to what we are saying. So my suggestion to the authorities is that whoever is going to be seek for services to be rendered to him in the whole ministries and organizations should be asked to produce his health vaccination card. I think that will go a long way to help.
Nanaya Amponsa, who is the Damwama Hima for Kintampo, spoke on behalf of the traditional authorities. She promised to lead a crusade to have more women accept the vaccines through engagements.
Yebehu omumpendi for no leaders no. Ni no wa kasa say. Hia say sa pane no. Awo seganya ni babia ewo bi. Enti bia da say ye pese. Omo ne adwadifo ma no hye won ase ni nyina nhia. Na ye mfrɛ hospital for no nimdie for no. Na pane no yemfa mewo ye fa sa kwan no so a se ebeboa amanipa dodo no a atimi awobi.
Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Kintampo.
From our correspondent takes a short break. We shall be back with more. Please stay. Welcome back from the break. Stay with me in the central region because the commander Edna Egwafabri Municipal Assembly is pushing for the Elmina Polyclinic to be made a hospital to enable the facility better attend to emergency cases it's confronted with on a daily basis. KEA Municipal Chief Executive Solomon Ebuapia believes the hospital that is situated along the Cape Coast Takoradi Highway should be hugely resourced to attend to accidents and other emergencies in that particular area. Speaking at a donation of health equipment by the Edna Diasporan Development Association based in the UK, the MC called for support for the health facility to enable it deliver quality health care. I have more in the following reports.
The Elmina Polyclinic started as an urban center that caters for the Elmina town and other adjoining communities. Over the period, the facility has been the go-to place for all manner of cases in the district. The facility now handles all major cases of accident and other emergencies before they are transferred to the major referral facility, the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. Medical officials here at the health facility are convinced the positioning of the hospital warrants a status upgrade. Here is Dr. Felix Kweni Ndabi.
The facility has to upgrade, just like the MC was talking about. It's been here for over 40 years in this same position as a health center. By the grace of God, in the past 2-3 years, we've been able to upgrade it up to this level as a polyclinic. We don't want to end here. We have to get to a hospital status. One key aspect which we lack right now is a surgical theater. And that is a big dent because with our position, with, the highway here, and with the kind of clients that we are getting, from the whole municipality, this is more like the exit point. So for all referral cases, they come here. We have medical officers here who are skilled to provide all these services. Unfortunately, we have to refer them, especially maternal cases at night. It's not pleasant, and there are some cases where some of them, unfortunately, have lost their lives because we could not provide the services here.
Receiving the donation of a VCG machine and refrigeration equipment for the blood bank from the Edna Diasporan Development Association based in the UK, KEA Municipal Chief Executive Solomon Ebuapia advocated a change in the status of the facility from a polyclinic to a hospital, owing to the location of the facility and called for more support for the facility.
Because when you look at this road, it is said that it is one of the dangerous roads in West Africa when it comes to road accidents. But if it's so, look at the position of the polyclinics. If we get a hospital settled with an emergency unit, those accident victims, before they get to Interberti, probably we could save a lot of them. If there's a hospital have resources, like what we've seen now.
Representatives of the association based in the UK indicated they hope their contribution would go a long way to help equip the facility to improve healthcare delivery system in the area. Augustine Papasego spoke on behalf of the team.
And the whole idea is that there's a need for the health of our people to be improved. And as we seek to improve the services of this hospital with a view to one day becoming a teaching hospital as the aspiration, we felt it necessary to contribute something small to help at this moment to develop that vision. So on behalf of the association, we are here to present a ECG machine and a blood bank refrigerator.
Both machines, according to the association, cost 42,000 Ghana cedis. Reporting for JoyNews, Richard K Nyarko, Cape Coast.
In the Ashanti region now, where 51 riders of motorcycles and tricycles have been arrested by the Ashanti Regional Police Command. Authorities say the culprit failed to obey traffic regulations and breach the law. There is more in the following report by Mona Lisa Frimpong.
The Ashanti Regional Police Command has for weeks now seized unregistered motorbikes and tricycles in the region. 51 riders have so far been arrested. Police say the breach of traffic regulations is the cause of the many fatal accidents recorded in the region. DCOP Kwesi Akumia Apraku is Deputy Regional Police Commander.
Majority of the accidents that do happen are man-made. We have realized that people do not observe the traffic lights when they reach the lights, especially the motor riders. That's why we started this type of operation.
Though the culprits have been released, letters have been issued to them serving as warning.
But because this is the first time we are conducting such an exercise, we have thought it wise to warn them. That's why we are going to give them warning letters, so that if any of them commit such an offense again, automatically he will go to the court.
DCOP Akumia Apraku warns of more arrests. He cautions drivers to be extra vigilant as the police have been deployed to check drivers who fail to obey traffic rules.
We have started. It's not going to be a 9-day wonder. We are going to sustain it to stop that practice from the region. So, and by this warning everybody, not the motorbikes. If you are on the road using a car, tricycle, or anything, you have to observe the traffic lights. If it says stop, you stop. If it says go, you go. Nobody is to violate the light. If you do so and you are caught, we will put you at the right place.
Mona Lisa Frimpong reporting.
Let's head to the Ashanti region once again, and the National Road Safety Authority says it is consulting appropriate stakeholders, including district, municipal and metropolitan assemblies, on how to complement rather than undermine its efforts. The Acting Director General, Engineer David Ofosu-Adontin, says the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, the Ghana Highway Authority, the media and the police must all work together to assist reduce road crashes and fatalities. The call for engagement comes as police in the Ashanti region investigate the Bosomtwe Assembly's presiding member and an assistant director for impeding and attacking a National Road Safety Authority compliance team during an outreach program in the area. My colleague, Ohime Teria, has more in the following reports.
On Easter Monday, an NRSA team participating in an outreach program received a shock of their lives when two officials from the Bosomtwe District Assembly assaulted and obstructed their activity. The men were enraged by the team's actions and hurled insults at the team while seizing a metal barricade that was being utilized as a barrier. Following a police complaint, the NRSA condemned the incident and called for a meeting with the assembly officials. Acting Director General, Engineer Osafo Adontin says it is against the National Road Safety Act 2019 to obstruct and interfere with the operations of the authority.
Our staff in the regions have started executing their official duties on the roads. In most cases, you find them as a team, branded like I am, going to enforce the standards as regards the use of the roads. They have been intimidated. They have been threatened. And in some cases, there have been a lot of interference from the public and others. This is regrettable. It's unacceptable. We are exercising our official duties granted by the new Act 993 of 2019. I do not see why our men should be threatened when they are executing their official duties. We have had a couple of them, especially in the Ashanti region.
Whilst appealing for support from industry players, Engineer Adontin is calling for respect for the mandate of NRSA as enshrined in Act 993. According to him, it is only when all stakeholders collaborate that more lives and property could be saved.
All the players within the space providing services through road infrastructure, design and construction and maintenance, vehicle structural integrity, those who are providing services in terms of public transport or commercial transport services, we will regulate them. We are to ensure that they comply with standards that they themselves have developed, or we will help them develop. It means that the police will do their own work in terms of enforcing the road traffic regulations. But we are coming to complement that, look at an institutional standards and ensure that they comply with. For example, is the road infrastructure. We don't think that a road can be called a safe road if it doesn't have line markings, road signs, walkways, pedestrian crossings like footbridges, and so on. It is our mandate to ensure that we collaborate strongly with the institution that is responsible for that.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Oimiteria reporting.
From our correspondent, we'll take another break. We shall be back with more. Please stay with us. Welcome back from the break, and we move to the Greater Accra region now, where a 65-year-old member of the Council of Patrons at the Ayawaso North constituency, Hajia Mariam Adama, a physically challenged due to an accident, was seen in a wheelchair, struggling to move from one polling booth to the other to cast her ballot during the elections of the constituency executives. According to Hajia Mariam, the gathering of MPP members excited her emotions, reason she wheeled herself from home to the voting grounds in spite of her inability to walk. There is more in this report.
Hajia Mariama Adama is 65 years old and a member of the Ayawaso North Council of Patrons for the governing NPP. Hajia Mariama, as she is affectionately called, served as a constituency organizer for 8 years and was the first vice chairperson of Ayawaso North. Her inability to walk did not prevent her from participating in the constituency elections at the Mother and Child Community School at Mamobi. As delegates were filing to cast their ballots, Hajia, who has been operated upon twice after a fatal accident, was seen in a wheelchair completing the voting process. With visible pains playing out on her face, she slowly made her way from one polling booth to the other. She never gave up as she subdued her pains and smoothly went through the voting process. The Electoral Commission had made arrangements for proxy votes, but Hajia insisted to be physically present at the voting grounds.
Well, it is my obligation to do that It is my right to come and cast my vote, even though I'm not feeling fine. Once I'm still alive, I have to serve my party. That is why I have come. I want to see things for my own self. When I come in occasions like this, I become so much happy in my heart. When I see MPP members come together to do something like this nature, I am more than a happy person. That's why I came myself.
So you love the party?
Too much.
Speaking to Joy News, she expressed concerns over the incessant calls on government to address challenges faced by the ordinary Ghanaian and called on the electorate to appreciate the global challenges, which has had a negative impact on the Ghanaian economy. She is, however, confident government would solve the challenges before the 2020 polls.
I am so much disturbed about the way people are talking. I think what is happening to Ghana is not Ghana alone. It is the whole world. I am a Ghanaian. I also go to the market. I pay electricity, I pay water. But I believe that within the 3 years, it's going to be okay for Ghana.
The former constituency women's organizer, who is rooting for a Dr. Bawumia presidency, asked Allah to bless the NPP with victory in 2024.
I am praying that we have victory. We are the victorious. And I am fully going for Bawumia. Yes, I am fully going for Bawumia. And I know with Bawumia, we are going to break the 8. Because this is the time for Dombo also to come alive.
Hajia Mariama Adama, just like many others, is confident the governing NPP will break the 8. For JoyNews, I am Kwesi Parker Wilson, Mamobi.
So we end this edition of From Our Correspondent in Cape Coast, where the paramount chief of the Ogua traditional area, Sabre Makwesiata II, is wooing British investors to invest in Cape Coast to develop the ancient capital of Ghana. According to him, the history between Cape Coast and the people of Britain warrants something more significant for both countries to celebrate and enjoy the fruits that come with them. He was addressing the British ambassador to Ghana in her visit to the Mintimazi Palace in Cape Coast. I have more in the following report.
Osabre Makwesiata II, the Omahine of the Ogua traditional area, says the city of Cape Coast yearns for more British participation to boost the trade and commerce of the area. He first wants the British ambassador to help the authorities of the city to turn the Victoria Park into a mini tourism site that could attract many to learn about Queen Victoria of England and her relationship with the Cape Coast city. More importantly, he says the city needs more companies from Britain to invest in Cape Coast for a win-win partnership.
You know that Cape Coast is the hub of tourism. We are open to any British company or any British individual who will help us to develop tourism, especially in Cape Coast and in Ghana in general. So again, that is the second one. And I hope that very sooner rather than later, we will communicate and then we start the ball rolling. When you go back with good memories of Cape Coast, especially Central Region. So we look forward to our collaboration so that it will be a win-win affair for all of us.
The British ambassador, Harriet Thompson, assured there was more UK participation in the socio-economic life of the people of Ghana. She indicated a lot was being done to roll out more business and infrastructure support for Ghana.
We heard about the infrastructure needs. The infrastructure is a sector where British companies have traditionally been very heavily involved in Ghana. So I hope that there are some opportunities here that we can get people involved in. We talked about tourism, and from even my short time here, it's clear how much potential there is in the tourist sector. I was in the UK recently with His Excellency the President to launch Destination destination Ghana that aims to get more tourists coming to Ghana from around the world, particularly from the UK, from my perspective. And I would love to get some of the people who are involved in that more aware of the opportunities that there are in this region to see how we can help develop that.
Central Regional Minister Justina Marigold Asan outlined some of the interventions government had rolled out in building a more robust ICT human resource base.
Thankfully, I know the basic schools and the secondary schools are now having access to internet. Universities too are having it. So it's just up to us to also monitor what they are doing. So in terms of capacity for our staff to do that mandate of them monitoring properly and then giving feedback is very, very important. But for the ministry, they are doing their part in terms of ICT training for girls. I know boys are also part of it, but for girls, we really want to bridge the gap. So the girls training for ICT is very, very much impactful, and they are doing it all across the country. So that's one. The government is doing so much to support ICT training in the various levels.
The regional minister and the British ambassador talked about some of the solutions in relation to teenage pregnancy. The region is currently placed third among the 16 regions in terms of teenage pregnancy. Reporting for JoyNews, Richard K Nyarko, Cape Coast.
And that's how we end this edition of From Our Correspondents. My name is Richard K Nyarko. Thanks for watching and have a beautiful day.